When Doge was first announced late last year, it sparked excitement in this country and inspired a few of our team members here at Kiss My Tech to put together revolutionary ideas to present to Doge and to the public. For months now, Doge has been fighting waste, fraud, and abuse, including the good, the bad, and the ugly of wading through the swamp. We decided to ask not what Doge can do for us, but what we can do for Doge. And we took on that challenge. We were going to reimagine the Doge mission and create practical ideas using both common sense and technology in the true spirit of what made America great. A whole lot of research and revisions later, we are finally ready to reveal our unexpected side project. We're laying our best meritocracy cards on the table and invite you to think outside of the box with us. So don't forget to like, comment, and share at the end of this video.
This idea centers around bringing government communication into the 21st century, giving taxpayers the access they deserve and the tools they need, all while reducing government spending. But before we doge right in, let's clarify the problems we are addressing with this idea. Currently, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, requested a budget authority of $448,075,000 for 2025. This request represents an increase of $57,883,000. So what's the official mission of the FCC, as in what are they supposed to be doing for the American people? The FCC regulates interstate and international communications through cable, radio, television, satellite, and wire. Now, from an outside perspective, it's plain to see they have failed at that. The mainstream news media is clearly running amok, not to mention that mission statement is a little behind the times since cable and radio are certainly no longer the top forms of communication. Let's also look at the purported goal of the FCC. The goal of the commission is to promote connectivity and ensure a robust and competitive market. Yeah, it seems they failed at that too. It's easy to see that connectivity is non-existent and the market is the wrong kind of competitive. This makes it harder on the average American to chase a true and balanced perspective on any given situation. And as with so many agencies in the US government, there also seems to be endless redundancy and little to no interagency connectivity. For example, there is an agency called the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. The NTIA's fiscal 2024 budget request totaled $117 million and it employed 235 people. The budget request supports NTIA's role of advising the president on communications and information policy issues. Come on now, does anyone think President Trump will be taking advice from this agency? An agency that costs the American taxpayers $117 million per year. So why not trim and reimagine these agencies, taking a more cutting-edge, modern approach by drastically trimming those budgets and prioritizing what should be the main objective, to effectively communicate to the American people. In rough terms, the total budget for just those two agencies, the FCC and the NTIA, is an estimated $565 million per year. So let's take a shot at reimagining the functions of these two agencies. It's great to say cut, 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 but best not to be short-sighted. Since we at Kiss My Tech are in pursuit of effectiveness, absolutely the waste needs to go. However, updating the goal of these agencies based on what is actually needed is a must to deliver those services in the leanest, meanest way possible. From a regulatory perspective, in today's world, the heavy lifting on regulating interstate and international communications is a great task for AI. If the technology is not already in place, it is likely that the existing AI utilized by the intelligence agencies could be modified to do the job. In theory, this should drastically reduce the workforce necessary to run the FCC effectively. It's hard to imagine that would require more than $50 million a year, but that is only a hypothesis based on limited information. Nevertheless, it's a step in the right direction. As for advising President Trump on communications and information policy issues, well, it's likely he already has people doing that. But okay, let's put some money into our hypothetical budget for that. Again, with the latest technology at their fingertips, on the high end, it's hard to imagine a budget of more than $1 million per year. So we are now at $51 million out of the $565 million estimated budget for these two agencies. Now, we still need to address the goal of promoting connectivity and ensuring a robust and competitive market. Before there can be a robust and competitive market, there needs to be a good product to sell with a clear distinction between what should be marketed and what should be provided to the American people for free. The American people pay taxes, federal, state, and local, so they have a right to expect certain services without paying more or having them skewed by political or monetary agendas. In short, the government needs to prioritize providing clear, authentic information to the American people that can be trusted. Right now, the world is mired in fake news and a muddled message regarding free speech. Now, part of the problem is that people seem to confuse the fact that our amazing Constitution guarantees our right to freedom of speech, but it does not directly guarantee our right to profit from freedom of speech. Nope, it's not written anywhere in the Constitution. It doesn't guarantee people the right to profit from their rhetoric or opinions, nor does it guarantee that a for-profit company will use their algorithms to promote that person's words and drive up that person's ad revenue. This is where it gets a bit murky. So Kiss My Tech's idea takes money out of the equation, at least to start with, by proposing a new government communication/citizen interaction platform, Gov Connect. It would be an all-encompassing platform for our government leaders at the federal, state, and local levels, including those in top-level staff positions, to communicate directly with the public and for the public to communicate with them. But what would this accomplish? Well, no matter your party affiliation and whether you love them or hate them, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are two of U.S. history's most popular figures, elected or otherwise. No matter how you cut it, every truth and every tweet adds value to their platforms and generates revenue. So that in turn naturally creates a little conflict of interest. There's no denying that when President 45/47 posts on his own Truth Social, it does increase the company's market valuation. After all, it is a for-profit platform. Since he won the election, Donald Trump is more popular now than ever before. Same goes for our own rocket man, Elon. Whenever he posts to X, it has the same kind of effect. Not to mention, X has become the default communication tool for many elected members of government and appointed government officials. Clearly, this has a direct impact on X's company valuation. There have also been concerns about the spread of hate speech, bots, and weak moderation since Elon Musk took over Twitter and rebranded it as X. On the other hand, Blue Sky, the new social media platform that the left seem to be embracing, is soaring in popularity as Democrats are abandoning Elon's X platform in the wake of Trump's election victory. Now, more than ever, we are being torn between choosing sides in almost every facet of our lives. Which social media do we decide to utilize? Where do we live? Is our current perspective zip code red or blue? No matter where you turn for news, especially political news, platform algorithms and mainstream media dilute every fact and infiltrate every story, and fact-checking seems to be hit or miss. It seems today more than ever, the waters of truth have become muddied. With all the best intentions, there is still the possibility of future conflicts of interest, even on X and Truth Social. Plus, none of the existing social media platforms have the right tools for this job. Yes, I said none of them. They are functionally inept to give the American people what they need. Gov Connect would be a next generation version of a press room that functions as an endless public-facing global press conference and specialized social networking platform. This newly created bipartisan platform would operate a bit like a nonprofit, answerable only to the American people. So there would be no power players calling the shots from behind the curtain. This would give our elected and appointed leaders from both parties an equal footing without mysterious algorithms affecting what is shown to the user, and no money biases that seem to inhabit all our existing social media platforms, because on Gov Connect there would be no advertising and no cookies. Cookies, such an innocent word, but in the tech world, cookies are like Trojan horses that come in and take your data. So no cookies means your data stays with you. And oh, by the way, there would be no data mining. If you're worried about Big Brother, well, I hate to tell you, that ship has sailed. If you have a TikTok account, then you no doubt have already had the Chinese government all up in your data. And all those terms and conditions you agree to on everything from Instagram to YouTube, even Rumble, means you are just giving away your data without a care in the world. Hell, even when you log into a local furniture store site, most of them likely have 57 cookies or more taking your data, just for the privilege of looking at a sofa. When it comes to tech, free isn't really free, but we'll dive more into that after we're done doing the DOGE. So let's take a step in the right direction with Gov Connect. The entire focus would be on providing the American people easy access to information, political opinions, and conversation relevant to what their government officials are doing, for them to have a real understanding of what their taxes are truly paying for. Since Americans are already paying for it, why not give it to them? If efficiency and effectiveness are the goal, then let's make that happen. There is a clear need to get the for-profit layer out of the middle. So rather than media outlets and podcasters quoting President Trump on Truth Social and the rest of the MAGA cabinet doing the same on X, they would be taking clips directly from Gov Connect. And rather than for-profit outlets like Forbes promoted by YouTube's Enraged to Engage algorithms controlling which Senate hearings are highlighted to the American public, they would be streamed and archived on Gov Connect along with press conferences, text comments, and video posts. Now, that doesn't mean that all the mainstream media outlets, social media platforms, journalists, and podcasters wouldn't still be able to show clips and continue to provide commentary or expose alternate narratives. Of course they would. However, any references to quotes or airing of videos would be coming straight from Gov Connect. Really, for social media and mainstream outlets, it would be basically business as usual. The only difference would be the root source. The public would have the choice with an easy way to skip the rhetoric and get their information straight from the horse's mouth if they choose to do so. A news outlet with no biases and no profiteering from advertisers, just information directly from the source. A few of the key aspects of how Gov Connect would do this is as follows. To leave comments, citizens would have to be verified. They can choose to have a private username and remain anonymous, but they would have been verified. Again, we're advocating to raise the bar from efficiency to effectiveness in every aspect of this concept. Americans could also be guest interviewers and be invited to read top questions aggregated from the comments section on post. Of course, existing popular media personalities like Tucker Carlson or Rachel Maddow could be guest interviewed viewers for a day or a week, but they would be doing so without payment just as a service to the American public, then follow the rules to repost to their own channels. The real secret sauce would be the user interface, complete with revolutionary new filters, utilizing enhanced AI in the right way, programmed to promote a personalized understanding of the issues, not just to generate profit. Gov Connect users would confirm where they live and the city where they work. Then each time they log on, they would be presented with a list of the officials that directly affect their lives, along with that official's most recent post and their bio. From the president to the governor of their state, senators and congressmen, down to the local government, including their mayor and council members. Of course, they could click onto a selected person's profile and discover more about them, as well as leave comments and send direct messages. They could even do advanced searches from other appointed officials, from law enforcement leaders to judges. Let's face it, there may be important things that have a direct impact on your daily life, but weren't deemed sexy enough to trip the trigger of the almighty social media algorithms. How many Americans have no idea what their council members actually do? You know, the ones that are paid with their tax dollars. Gov Connect would give users an opportunity to gain practical insight into exactly what those officials do and how they're spending their tax dollars. For example, maybe there are members of the city council that are blocking the allocation of money to repair the streets in your small neighborhood. How would you hear about it before it happens? Then there could be an opportunity to rally the neighbors to petition the council before it's too late. Instead of federal, state, local government seeming so disconnected, it would be seamless for the user. Gov Connect could do the heavy lifting on keeping Americans up to date on government matters that relate to them, from national issues like immigration and oil prices right down to local issues. Even, dare I say, positive things that don't make for good clickbait. Naturally, users could also follow officials from other geographical areas. Users would also be able to sort content by subject matter and specify topics they are interested in, then receive notifications related to their specified selections. More than that, utilizing AI in the right way, the posts themselves could be fact-checked and filtered prior to posting. Here's an example of the type of filters that would make sense. At the bottom of each post, there could be indicators like percentage of fact within that post, including some high-level definition of that analysis, plus the percentage of opinion, supporting facts and opposing facts. Then the user can drill into each percentage to get more details. If you have ever looked at the review section for a product on Amazon, it would be organized a bit like that, however, utilizing relevant data. Gov Connect would also give podcasters a great tool in order to make sure they're presenting the most factual information. Unfortunately, the most recent terror attack in New Orleans on New Year's Day is a classic example. Podcasters were quoting various other publications because the truth is they don't actually have live reporters on the scene at these types of tragedies. Many of the podcasters incorrectly reported 15 or 16 deaths, when if they had watched the actual press conference given by the FBI agent in charge, he consistently gave the number of 14 deaths. In situations like this, details matter. In addition, those podcasters that innocently made a mistake could have an AI-generated correction message at the bottom of their post, simply stating, "Correction, the number of deaths in New Orleans January 1st attack was confirmed at 14, so as to not misinform their loyal audience." There could also be filters to sort posts by political party and warnings for hate speech. Hate speech comments could be compartmentalized in such a way they're presented at the bottom of the post and require the user to actively click into that section to wade through the mud. However, that would still provide freedom of speech because the comments are there, they're just buried. Again, the Constitution does not guarantee top billing for hate speech. Gov Connect would likely take a big step towards rebuilding trust between the government and the American people, dare we say even increasing credibility on the world stage. In addition, since Republicans are strongly focused on reducing federal government and pushing many services back to the state level, connectivity is even more important. A more fragmented government can create a whole new level of inefficiency. In closing, we, the American taxpayer, already fund press secretaries and press departments within our government. Why would we not expect or rightfully demand that the information we receive from our government is the best and most authentic we can get? Today, and at the time of our nation's founding, the goal was to bring as much information as possible to the people and allow them to make their own decisions. Gov Connect would be the platform where government officials can say what they want to say, exactly what they want the world to hear, in context and in full. The platform would be providing tools to assist the public to navigate the issues. Then, good or bad, government officials would be held accountable for their own words. Now, let's get back to the money. Wouldn't something like this cost $1 billion to implement? The answer is absolutely not. There are existing frameworks that could be utilized to build the base platform. The filters and AI algorithms, although they would be new and different, therefore requiring some mindful development and talented programmers, wouldn't take nearly as much computational programming as parallel parking a rocket or the operation of a driverless vehicle. In the new world of efficiency at the Gov Connect offices, there wouldn't be foosball tables in the conference area and heated toilet seats in the restrooms, just a good, sensible work environment. And since we know there are many available unused government buildings, that right there would reduce some big upfront cost. And surely, with all the government dedicated servers and resources, they could find some available cloud space to house Gov Connect. Now, cybersecurity would need to be considered, but frankly, since there is a reported Chinese hacking frenzy that even recently reached the US Treasury Department, cybersecurity needs to be stepped up in a huge way across the board. But we'll deep dive into that in one of our upcoming original out-of-the-box Doge ideas. Honestly, whatever is done to shore up security in those critical government offices could benefit Gov Connect. Even though as a public-facing website and app, the security needs would not even be in the same realm of importance as, say, the Treasury Department. As for management, for the most part, management could be divided amongst the existing press offices and communications officers, so only a relatively small group would be needed to oversee Gov Connect. In dollars and cents, our guess is, drumroll please, on the high side, considering the plethora of existing resources that could be utilized, we say $50 million for development. And if we're thinking of running it like a lean and mean startup, still considering those resources, we can realistically lower it to $25 million on a yearly basis. Based on continuing to utilize existing press offices, our hypothesis is under $10 million a year to operate Gov Connect. So back to where we started. We reimagined and trimmed the budget of $565 million for the Federal Communications Commission and the National Telecommunications and Information Administration down to $50 million per year for the FCC for regulation of radio, TV, satellite, and wire. $1 million per year for a team to brief the president on regulatory issues, and $50 million to develop our revolutionary new communication platform that reinvents the concept of press conferences and government briefings, adding some amazing new user functions. Plus, on the high side, $10 million for each of the following years to operate that platform. So for the first year, the total cost would be $101 million, yielding a $464 million savings, and an estimated budget for the following years would be in the neighborhood of $61 million per year. But the part that is impossible to quantify easily is the amount of time our elected officials would save by not fighting misinformation and chasing headlines. So across the board, they would all have more time to serve the American people. And since time is money, that would be priceless. Next up is idea number 2. We'll get into how this platform, Gov Connect, could save the American taxpayer even more money and benefit the average American much, much more. We hope you've enjoyed this totally unique, out-of-the-box idea and found it thought-provoking. You are cordially invited to Doge it out again. Bye for now, and don't forget to kiss my tech.